What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube. Happy New Year. Our Tuesday show presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. It is January. It is the month of routine. Make Muskox part of your January routine. Get cozy, get comfortable, look good everywhere you go. Go to gomuskox.com and you can use the promo code HOFF, H-O-F-F, for $15 off your flannel purchase. That's HOFF at gomuskox.com. And try to look as good as me and Jason. And get yourself into a Muscot. Be as comfortable as we are. Jason, how you doing, brother?
The Detroit Lions are NFC North champions. Let's go!
Happy New Year, buddy.
It's good to see you.
Thought we'd start it off with some Tony Dombrowski. Start off 2024.
It's a good way to go.
It's been a long time since we've done a show, so I don't even know what hot takes are hot anymore or what I have going on. But, it's good to be back.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot that happened with the Lions. I would say there's a lot that happened with Michigan State basketball, and I'd say there's a lot that happened with U of M football. Those are three good places to start.
I really wanted to do a show like Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I really did, yeah.
We could have done it.
I know, but then I just thought about driving in and all that stuff, and I was like, we'll get to it.
People asked about it. It was, and I thought maybe it's, I considered it as well. I thought about reaching out and being like, do you want to just get in there and go at it?
It's probably for the best that we didn't have open microphones. I don't know.
Well, okay.
Who knows?
All right. Well, as we do always, we dig in our hot takes and then yours. And people today mostly follow the directions, by the way. Not everybody. And the idea was, like, we don't want to get rid of the hot take show, but we want to make it better. And I think our three hot takes, and we may go back to that in the summer when we get more variety, but are sometimes just a repetitive of the same three topics a lot. And it's a lot of reading. The show gets long. And I just don't, we want it to be the best show, even though, it's, and so.
Yeah, we should have prefaced everything with, we appreciate anyone writing into this
100%.
Show. But we do need to make it more compact.
Yes,
I think.
yes. So what you're doing is it's like your best hot take and then maybe a bonus take. And because the bonus takes give us a chance to, talk about other things.
It gives Graham a chance to look shit up for 2.5 minutes while we play Hoff.
Right. So basically two takes, in other words. But your best take. And then some people still did the three. When Dominic was asking why I put things in all caps, that's why, because some people just assume it. They don't see it otherwise. But come on. So we did we're running all three. If you put all three in for the most part today, unless it was really long, but most people follow it. So it'll be a good show, and we got a lot to get into. But we'll start with ours. Jason, you want to go first?
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
After the game, because I think the NFL refs are ass, and I still do, and it's very funny watching the referee, the whole team of referees saying that. The best part, I think, Graham, was they were saying that the Lions were too complicated to figure out who was reported or what. And the NFL put that statement out. But my question is, so why did they get demoted from the playoffs if they really didn't do much wrong? I just don't, and it makes me feel as a Lions fan that we can win games, but I don't know if we can beat the referees. And I don't know, and I'm not going to go conspiracy. I don't think I don't know why the NFL would want the Lions to suck or lose these games or anything, or the Cowboys, Jerry Jones was involved. But you have to ask yourself, after these things keep fucking happening, and you watch these games, and you get the apology and the Goodell, and then this one, you get thrown right in your face going, well, you guys were too complicated. We couldn't figure out who was declaring that they were going to be eligible to catch the 2-point conversion. I'm just scared, Graham. We're going to the playoff game. I bought tickets. I'm going. I have to witness this. Even if it's Matt Stafford coming into Ford Field and the Rams beating us, I feel that even if we get to an NFC championship game. There's going to be some mysterious call or mysterious play that we've never seen in the history of the NFL happen to the Lions. So you have that on top of trying to even beat a team. You have the refs, and you're thinking, wow, they're against us. To Dan Campbell, I love Dan Campbell. I really do. And I'm on board, as well as everyone else should be, about going for it on fourth downs a lot. I'm 90% in on the fourth down shit. I want to go for – I really like how you put the defense on their heels by going for fourth downs. But how about after the penalty, then the penalty of the hold, what was it, a false start at 4th and 7 or whatever it was, why don't you just kick the extra point? Or whatever. What was it? Was it like a
you're at the 7-yard line
or something? Yeah, 7 yards. Why not kick the extra? Your team was playing well. I get it. You're on the road and you want to snag this victory, and it did work. You should have won that game. But Dan, I'm just saying, I don't really think Campbell can take some criticism. Should he have taken that field goal before the half? I thought so. He was on 97.1 this morning, and I did enjoy it. He did say, I have not listened to the audio. I did read about it. Campbell pretty much called out the host and said, well, talk to me like, hey, I'm here. Talk to me how you would talk about me if I'm not here. And I would tell Dan Campbell, I love you, man. But 90% of the time, let's go for it on fourth down. That 10%, let's just save it for smart decisions. And I don't know who has to be involved with that.
A couple things. Loved everything you said. My biggest issue with the ref is not that we all don't fuck up from time to time. And I tweeted this out at the time it happened because it felt like the way that the ref doubled down felt like when you're 12 years old and you screw something up that's an honest mistake and you just keep digging a hole and not taking any accountability because that's what you do and you're embarrassed. He's got a stupid-looking face. We all respect Jim Joyce because he right away admitted he screwed up. And it stunk that he did it. He shouldn't have done it. There should be repercussions for missing something that bad. If you're an umpire, you should not see things that don't happen. But that said, he took accountability. The lack of accountability pissed me off. Like you're above reproach. And it may be more
from the NFL or
no, from the actual ref, from Allen.
Jeez, all right.
And then so to me, you need to be, because he never took actual accountability. He just doubled down on this. And I get he was in a spot at a certain point where he had already announced 70. You can't. I understand why you can't let the play stand. You screwed it up, but you told the defense 70 and then 68.
Does he make that call at Ford Field if that game's at Ford Field in the playoff game? Say that happened. No way. Not a shot in hell because he wouldn't make it out alive. There's no way.
He screwed up. The Lions should be allowed to. Part of football is being deceitful to the defense. You should be allowed to be deceitful. Now you want to make it clear to the ref that you're the guy, but I think the ref screwed this up. The ref screwed this up. And the fairest thing would have been for him to say, I botched this. I'm sorry. We got to replay it from the 2-yard line because I just told the defense number 70, and I don't know if they're looking for 68. It's not right to them. It's not fair to you guys. It's really not fair to anybody. It's my fault. Take accountability. But here's the reason I think Lions fans, ultimately, there's this underlying thing that's stirred inside of them for a couple reasons. One, yes, have there been a lot of things where the refs have screwed the Lions over the years, some that have resulted in rule changes, and I think this one will too. Yes. In Dallas before, yes. All of that. And so that stirs up things. The fact that there hasn't been success in forever, yes. But I also think there's a good chunk of people who follow the Lions who understand that for the Lions to win, it's not that, sure, you can get it on the next play, or you had another chance from the after the penalty, on the third try on the 2-point conversion. But they also understand for the Lions to win, everything has to go right because 50% of the time, Jared Goff's going to screw it up. Dan Campbell's going to go for it when it's on the 7-yard line instead of kicking the extra point. You have a coach who's going to occasionally put you in a bad spot, and you have a quarterback 50% of the time who isn't going to make the play. So when the play actually happens, you cannot afford to have the ref screwed up. This is not John Elway getting another shot. It's Jared Goff who's going to underthrow Matt LaPorta. Or Sam LaPorta. What? Sam.
Yeah.
Because of who the Lions are, you need that to go right. Because the odds are only 50-50 that it's ever going to. Because half the time Jared Goff sucks. Half the time he's good. So when he's good, it has to work. Half the time you love the aggression from the play calling and the decision to go from fourth down from Dan Campbell. The other half of the time you're like, And so you know that the other half is coming. The shoe is going to drop. So you can't have the refs botch it when it actually goes well, because that was your time for it to go well. And when it went well, you got screwed by the refs. And now it's not going to go well because the Lions aren't good enough, aren't smart enough to make it go well twice in a row, if that makes sense.
So do we have a curse happening with the Lions as Lions fans? Because I just say
you've got an average quarterback is what you have.
But when can we talk about how many times we've been screwed over? I mean, can we make a presentation at the owners' meetings or in front of Goodell or something saying like, well, what? How does it just happen that all of these things happen to the Lions, and everybody who's watched a bunch of NFL games in their life, they're like, I've never seen anything like this. And by the way, I don't know. A lot of people that tell you what you should feel the next day, and I made the mistake of listening to the radio 97.1 like after the game. Why? You can blame it on the refs. I think you can. And I understand you can nitpick and you can tell me about a play in the second quarter where they could have had this or could have. But I think you can blame. You're allowed to as a Lions fan.
It's consequential enough. I understand there's certain things you can review and other things you can't. When things are going to be this consequential, this matters economically to businesses around Ford Field. This matters to the Lions getting another home playoff game, maybe two, maybe a bye, but most likely it mattered the 2 and 3 seed, which is a big deal. It's the path. The difference between playing Stafford, which is like a 50-50 proposition with one home playoff game, and getting 2 home playoff games without playing the Red Hot Rams. I know they didn't look great last week. And then having a real shot at getting to the NFC Championship. That is, you have changed history with a bad call. Again, the Lions, and I appreciate Dan Campbell sort of taking his own accountability. There are lots of little plays that go into a game. Their inability to make 2 good plays in a row. Jared Goff's never going to make 2 great throws.
On the road.
Yeah. It's just not going to happen.
That's why you need those 2 home playoff games.
And so I think that what the underlying emotion in all of this is everybody is realizing for the Lions to ever win a Super Bowl, everything's going to have to go right, including the refs, because the quarterback you have and the coach you have are going to occasionally put you in spots that aren't favorable. It's not going to go well. And you're good enough, if everything goes right, to be there, perhaps. But like if you put Jared Goff on the 49ers, I would not have put the bet on the 49ers I have to win the Super Bowl. Because at some point, and look, I know Brock Purdy just had a 4-interception game or whatever, but at some point Goff is going to make the play that you go, what? The way he shakes his head afterwards, stop shaking your head, stop making that throw. Yeah, I think the comparison I had was with like me at 12:30 a.m. leaving the refrigerator, having done some damage, shaking my head. I know I should have done it. Why did I do it? I hate myself every time. It's the same deal. But yeah,
NFL refs are ass.
They are ass. That is the takeaway. What is your second hot take?
Oh, did you do yours already?
Oh, sorry. My first was laced into the line.
All right. Well, let's get to these. Basically, my second and third. Lee Corso coming back in 2024. Are you excited, Graham? Kirk Herbstreit sitting there listen, it's not that Lee Corso doesn't know football still. I don't know. I can't understand him. But I'm saying, like, it's just look at Dick Clark on the New Year's Eve specials after he had a stroke. It's uncomfortable. It's not like no one likes Lee Corso because he had a stroke. It's just like, man, it's really rough, especially when you have fucking minute-long commercials where there's a one-eyed cat and a fucking terrible song. Like, you can't watch a game without getting depressed or be asked for money or some shit. So I don't want to watch Lee Corso. It's not like I watch the show anyway, but anyway.
There are 2 sides to that. One is, it's sort of the other end of, like, in Lansing, we have WLNS and WILX, which
Tim Stout.
Very, and small market TVs, because it's what Lansing and Jackson, right? It's like it's in the 70s or 110s. It's low. Mm-hmm. And so the people they hire, their weekday people are pretty good, but the people they hire on the weekends often are pretty green right out of school. And it's sometimes hard to get your news from them because you're rooting so hard for them just not to fuck up. It's an emotional, exhausting experience to watch the news with them because you're rooting through. And Lee Corso's on the other end of life with that. And you're sort of like, oh, don't. And so I get it. I totally get it. I also think they use him less and less. He's, a staple of that.
I know, but why does Herbstreit have to be the sponsor for him? It's like we don't want him to die or go. He doesn't. I don't know. You can maybe do some bits with him during the season, but I don't. Yeah.
All right. My second hot take. The college football playoff with Washington and Michigan winning is in some way a reminder that Michigan State can do this. And I'll tell you why. Because these were old teams. Washington, I think, had 9 sixth-year players. That's not going to continue to exist in college football. They're older teams, fewer stars. Alabama and Texas had way higher recruiting rankings, right? But these were teams that were assembled with enough talent, development, having the right quarterback, having the right winning culture. And I think it's also a reminder of not just where MSU has to get to from a talent perspective, but where they once were as a program and where they have to get back to in terms of a winning culture with players who make winning plays. Like if you go back to the MSU rise under Mark D'Antonio, even in 2011, you get the Isaiah Lewis, play that at the end of the Wisconsin game, they don't get to the Rose Bowl. 2012, they lose a lot of close games. Early 2013, they're not there yet. And then all of a sudden, they made the plays. They made the play at the end of the Rose Bowl. They, in 2014, have that fourth quarter against Baylor that came out of nowhere. Like, how do you win that game? They won games that you didn't think they were going to win or that were close. They made the winning plays late. It was the same it is for Michigan now, right? Which made all sorts of mistakes, including that flub punt with some kid looked like he was a 12-year-old back there. And yet it felt like they were the better team at the end. Like they were losing their way. They're down 20-13. They make a couple of big plays. They seize control. That 4th and 2 was big. And they look like the better team. Washington's on top. They're in control. That a disaster happens. Bad time management a little bit, you can argue. Injury with a weird rule that then stops the clock. So Texas has more time. Horrible luck. Texas is driving. They're in the red zone. And yet at the end, those guys made plays, including one of the great swat away, defensive back plays on the final play by a Washington DB. Like those plays that they made, that they prevented, other teams wouldn't make them. MSU included. Like that's what separates teams like Michigan and Washington this season. That's who Michigan State used to be. And when you watch those teams, I think it should be heartening though for MSU that these aren't the rosters loaded with 4- and 5-star guys. This isn't just the SEC rolling through with Georgia and Bama and Clemson at their peak. This is being done a little differently. And it's not saying that you won't get those teams aren't going to have their run. Georgia looks really good. They're not going to go anywhere. But I just think it's a reminder that you got to have the right QB and you got to have an offensive line because that's what Michigan and Washington had the better QB in both games. Both teams had really good offensive lines. And look what happened. And that's, if you're Michigan State, make sure you have the right QB, make sure you have an offensive line, build around it. But it's not impossible to do at a place like MSU because Washington, which was not that great not that long ago, and Michigan aren't that different. Now, Michigan may be this huge brand and all, but look at the way that Michigan recruits is not Alabama and Georgia. It isn't. Michigan not that long ago was not that good. Washington not that long ago was not that good. What those two did, I think, should be heartening for a lot of programs, but Michigan State included. That is my second hot take. My third hot take, MSU basketball. So Izzo's in a great place. Before I came over here to the show, he's, thinks his team's playing really well. You can just tell he's really happy with the way things have come along, how focused they are and all this stuff. And at the beginning of the post-Jeremy Fears era for this season was interesting to watch against Indiana State. And the one takeaway I have from that, and MSU is still playing really well. Indiana State is phenomenal. People who want to trash that are stuck on brands. Like Indiana State would finish in the top 5 of this Big Ten. I truly believe it. They're really good. They're really good. But the one thing Michigan State will have with more Trey Holloman is potentially more shooting, the more minutes he plays, which is good. What they don't have that Jeremy Fears was growing into is a guy who changes it up, a guy who brings another gear, a guy, if things aren't working, could potentially give a different look. And like Trey Holloman as a point guard is just a good, solid, serviceable point guard, but he doesn't ramp anything up. He doesn't change. He doesn't improve what you're getting potentially out of A.J. Hoggard if he's not playing well. And so what MSU has lost is the ability to change gears, the ability, the ceiling of their backup point guard. And it's all okay as long as Hoggard continues to play like he is and stays healthy and all that stuff. And Holloman's hitting shots, and he'll be fine. But that ability when things are going wrong to really change gears with your other guy and who he was growing into, I think, has been lost.
Do you think that with the Fears kind of thing, that was crazy, by the way, getting shot? I was like,
yeah, we haven't even talked about that.
Fucking Liz Frank, dude. I'm like, how'd he get shot? But could it help A.J. Hoggard? Like, I'm not saying he was rooting for Fears to get hurt, but it seems like it would. There's no pressure with Fears on his back a little bit.
I would have said
play a little looser.
I think it would have helped, not him getting shot, but not. I had written before that, and I wrote again this week that there was a while where I thought Michigan State would have been better off with either Fears not having Hoggard because he would have had more time to grow into whatever he was going to become, or Hoggard not having Fears. And I think having Fears, this kind of beloved freshman behind him, was not helping. But they had grown into something where everybody seemed to have good role definition, and there was an understanding based on the way Hoggard had been playing that he's the guy. And he was playing 25-ish minutes and Fears 15, and it was working. And so they had come to a place where they didn't I don't think it actually benefits Hoggard all that much. I don't think it hurts him. The Hoggard is happy to be the guy. And he is now. Everybody knows he's the guy. He's going to have to be it. So, and he's playing, I think it's 6 or 7 games now where he's played pretty dang well, going back even before they started this win streak. So, look, they're in a pretty good place. They got less depth. You can't afford another injury or anything that happens. I think everybody's grateful that Jeremy Fears didn't have it worse. You know, when you get shot in the leg, things can go wrong. Everybody remembers the Sean Taylor incident years and years ago. You hit the wrong spot. You know, it's awful. But when somebody comes in firing a gun in a house you're at, to get hit in the leg and the bone and it not hit a major artery or anything else, or chest or head or whatever it is. You know, the young woman there got shot in the stomach or whatever. To get hit there is a lot better than it could have been. It sucks for him. There's nothing good about it. Michigan State will not be better for it, but I think they can be okay. What stinks from a basketball perspective is that he was really growing into something. You were seeing it. Like, he was making them. The thing that I didn't think he did early on for them when he was playing the backup point guard minutes is make them better very often. And especially when a year ago they were relying on Tyson Walker late in games, and Walker was better than Fears was early, but lately he'd been playing really well, and you could just see his trajectory going up and up and up, and you could see how by the end of the season what he could bring coming off the bench might be something really immense. And for him, you feel bad. Like, he is a guy, if you talk to players and coaches about him, and Izzo brought this up, the idea that there's the like it, love it, live it stuff with basketball players, whether they like the sport, love it, or live it. He's a live it guy. Like, this is his thing. Like, so this is not some small – he's going to miss the end of his freshman year. He's going to have to watch this. He's going to be reminded every day that he can't play because during Big Ten play he's going to have to watch this. But long term, it doesn't sound like it's going to be something that's going to limit him, and it's not going to limit his life, which is – there might be some trauma every time a door opens for the rest of your life. I can't imagine going through that, but no, that's not inappropriate. Yeah, I'm just,
I didn't say it was.
Okay. Yeah.
I wasn't ready for it.
All right, yeah. So, anyway. All right, let's take a really quick break, and we come back. We will dig into your hot takes. Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels.
Firekeeper's Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. You can get your own Muskox Quality Flannel at GoMuskox.com. That's GoMuskox.com. And use the promo code HOFF, H-O-F-F, for $15 off your flannel purchase. You will not regret it. It's a great gift for yourself, for anybody, and just a great way to upgrade your wardrobe and upgrade your comfort this winter. All right, Jason, let's dig into these listener hot takes.
All right, Eric Schultz up first. It's fair to say that Jared Goff, while really good at times, too often does things that show the Lions can't win a Super Bowl with him. But the same has to be said about Dan Campbell, too.
Yeah, I mean, this goes to one of my points a little bit.
But Goff did drive it down there, led him to a score, and it should have worked, the two-point conversion. I understand what he's saying, but
this is a big postseason for him, I think. I mean, because I don't know that they've made a decision on him yet, because I do think, and this is why there are a couple reasons I want them to beat the Rams and win that first game, is obviously a playoff win for the Lions and what that would feel like, and the fact that it hasn't happened since my voice changed, and you'll be there, and I'm scared what will happen to you if they lose while you're there and all that stuff. But beyond that, I do want to see him then in playoff situations on the road. I want to be able to judge that. I think the franchise needs to be able to judge that.
Do you need to see it? I mean, you pretty much know there's going to be some mistakes made on the road, especially if it's outdoors.
Well, yeah, no, I think he's in a little bit of a prove-it mode. Like if they were to get to play at San Francisco on the outdoors, and he was good in that game, even if they lose the game, because San Francisco's a great team, you might feel a little more confident. Yeah,
but with the quarterbacks that are in the NFL, I just feel like he's got auto value no matter what you think after the season. Like, you're going to have to pay him. I mean, yes, he works better in your system, but could he be swayed to get out of there? I mean, who knows?
I'm just saying, once you think you can't win a Super Bowl with a guy, you have to move on, because the whole point of this is to win a Super Bowl. And so it doesn't matter if he's top 15. Who are we going to get it better? Well, you got to figure that out. Like, in your own division, Justin Fields is emerging. They got 1 million draft picks. They're going to be a good team. Packers aren't going to be bad. You got a year where the division was bad, and you're okay, but you're not great yet. And you need better quarterback play. Now, that's either got to come from him or somebody else. But what
we need is a linebacker. I would take one before. I would keep Goff, get a linebacker.
And again, you don't have to pay. Next year is under contract. You can kick this down the road a little bit. I'm not.
Yeah, but you have to be careful about that. These guys have egos. The agents get into some shit like that, and you just don't want to wait too long. I just don't. I know people want Hendon Hooker, Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, are you sure?
No, you don't want.
Are you sure?
We don't know what Hendon Hooker is. Bridgewater, you don't want over.
I'm saying Hendon Hooker next year, starting for the Lions. I mean, sure, maybe a possibility down the road, but
we don't know what he is. They don't know what he is. No. Yeah, you don't want to. You're starting to get in your window here. If you don't have Jared Goff, you need to have somebody who's.
I mean, there's teams that are like looking at Aiden
least.
O'Connell and going like, "Oh my God, if we could just get Aiden O'Connell." Remember him at Purdue? Are you fucking kidding me? How much money I lost?
Yeah, you're gonna actually have to draft one.
So it can get scary, the quarterback scenario.
100%. It's not easy. That's for sure.
Dominic next. Number 1. Ryan Day is responsible for all of this. His game day vaginal cramps in the game led to this day. He will not see heaven. 2, 2024 will see Couch stop saying, if it wasn't his finest hour, when referring to offensive coordinators are clown penises. Instead, he'll say, boy, insert name, certainly is a massive clown penis. My column. Time to grow up, Couch. 3. Couch going full Levitt Gate on Twitter, acting like he was personally introducing the world to Michael Penix was laughable. Oh, man, I got to see this. Gee, thanks, Graham. Have watched him dominate the position since 1993. What's next? You going to tell us about smartphones in a donut voice?
Let me tell you about the iPhone. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, no, I
you know how much Graham loves his futures bet on Washington? He despises when I let people know my winnings or whatever. He sent me his slip from how long ago? His ticket
September 24th
for Washington, like at 12:30 at night, 1 a.m. So you know he's proud of it. By the way, I just don't understand why we all don't root for each other. It's us against the books. So if you have winners, show them.
Yeah, no, I
crush them.
Look, you know, if you on September 24th were wise enough to go on the Firekeepers iCasino Sportsbook app and get odds, a $50 bet pays $9.50.
Was that the only national championship futures bet you made that day?
It was. It's the only national.
Now it's more impressive.
Yeah, it's the only national champion. I mean, often, and I'll admit this when I do it, often I have like my NBA Rookie of the Year bet. I cannot win money at this point because I have so many people. I just need Chet Holmgren to win it to break even, and otherwise I lose.
He still counts as a rookie?
Yeah, well, that's the key. He's going to win it, yeah, because he does count as a rookie. But if you go back to, let's see, September 23rd, Washington beat Cal 59-32. And the week before, they clobbered Michigan State. And the week after, they were actually in a fight with Arizona on the road. But, like, it was after that Cal game, I was like, bet, let's do this. And so.
See, it ruins the Couch voice if you do it.
I'm sorry, yeah. But, yeah, no, I am excited. I am going to do a little bit of hedging. Did a little bit of hedging yesterday already. So.
Oh, God.
Not a lot.
The hedge king.
Just a little bit.
Hedgehog.
Yeah.
DMB next. I can't tell if J.J. McCarthy is Brian Lewerke or Joe Burrow. Credit to Michigan for building a team around him, but it seems a lot of his big plays are the guys, they're just wide open. Bonus. Chatting with some guy from India once a year to lower my LSJ rate his ass.
That is our gift to you, DMB. You get to get more.
Was that you
worldly.
doing an Indian accent to make it more realistic? Or
if I tried to do an Indian accent, it would be so offensive that the show would get canceled. Because I thought about it for a minute, and it was going to be like a Boo on The Simpsons.
It's probably
or something.
like this. He got it. Oops, wrong one.
He's got a stupid.
Wait, what? What? Shit, I forgot. I lost it. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Whatever that was. Solid.
I missed it.
Okay.
Oh wait,
Jason, do you think that Bill Beekman?
It's got to be close to that.
If it was that, it would be less offensive probably than what I probably would have.
Kermit the Frog?
Yoda.
That's
Kermit.
less offensive?
Yoda and Kermit combined. Well, yeah.
You guys really outsourced the communications?
We're the worst. If I were in charge, it's one of the things I would change instantly because I think customer service really matters. And again, if you got a major issue ever, you do just reach out to me and I will help you handle it.
Will you do an Indian accent?
No, but I just fear where it would go, and I don't need that on record anywhere. Point number one though, that McCarthy is Brian Lewerke or Joe Burrow. It is actually a good point because there are times where you're like, I don't know if he's that good, and I mean, the other thing is Lewerke. At times you go, wow, that guy's got a pretty live arm. That was a really nice throw, and then there'd be some inaccuracies and whatnot.
Box Bowl.
Yeah, it is, and then but there are times where I've seen McCarthy make throws this year where you go, wow, that's an NFL throw. That's an NFL window. That was a really smart delivery. I still don't know what he is. It'll be interesting to see him at the next level. He'll obviously be a decently high draft pick because he's got a decently high ceiling, but I don't think he's a sure thing. I would certainly rather have, and I don't know if he'll Michael Penix. I don't understand why Michael Penix is potentially a second-round draft pick. Like, I understand.
Who said
that? He's just not projected that high. It's like late first round, second round. Like, if I'm the Lions, I would consider Michael Penix. I'm
in the second round, yeah,
or even in the first round, late in the first round. If I were, gosh, yeah. He throws some balls.
I don't believe that he's going to be that late.
He throws balls that Jared Goff can't.
All right, Fart Soup next. Michigan players talking about all the adversity they had to fight through is mega ass. Adversity? Fight through? You cheated to gain a competitive advantage. Ass.
Yeah, the Michigan against everybody story is, I mean, look, if you're a Michigan fan, you're going to be there. Because that's like if you role reverse and Michigan State or any other school was who Michigan is right now, every fan would be in on it. Now, there are parts of who Michigan is that other teams wouldn't be, if that makes sense, because there is a smugness. There is, it's just, yeah.
We need you, Michael Penix.
It's just baked in. Well,
we need you.
Yeah, I got a lot of response from people saying that they're actually rooting for Michigan. I don't.
Fucking hell.
I don't see
I
that.
need names.
Yeah,
I want names.
Yeah.
Why'd you have to say that? Who the fuck wants Michigan to win? Because they're in the Big Ten? Is it your mom?
No, my mom doesn't even know when
I apologize.
She doesn't know when the game is.
Oh, okay.
If I told her college football season was over, she would think it was over, and there was no more games.
I wish.
Yeah, no, it is.
Can't root for. Oh my God.
They have not been through that much adversity relative to a lot of.
Be a friend with Jordan and have a text back and forth.
Well, it's self-created adversity. That's the problem. Yeah. What's Jordan think right now?
Oh my God, I got endless winning tickets for the game that he gambled on. And he's took mushrooms and he's next to his TV taking pictures and shit. I mean, I want to be happy for my friend. I really do. Like, I sent him a message before the game. I'm like, I would tell you good luck, but I'd be lying. Like, I do not want Michigan to win. I will tell you that. So I can't really be happy for. But likewise, like when Izzo wins his second natty in March, it's going to be the same kind of thing. Except I wouldn't send all of these different things.
The difference is, and I think this drives MSU fans nuts, is that Michigan does not care as much about basketball as they do football. And Michigan State is equal, and the football side of things grinds their gears.
And the 8 home games.
Yeah, all that stuff. All that adversity from playing 8 home games.
God. Who's next? Your professor. MSU should play Indiana State every year, home and away. Make it an event. Bring Magic and Bird. Seems like a missed opportunity to honor an iconic college sports moment. Bonus. Going back to work after the holidays is tougher than going back after a regular summer vacation.
Yeah.
I was kind of ready, though. I think summer vacations, it sucks when that runs out. Holidays, you're just like, all right.
Yeah, I like
that's
the
over.
January is my favorite month. I like the routine. It's weird. I'm weird that way. And it's not even now. I like the holidays now. It stems from...
You like the holiday? You're going to celebrate Christmas now? Or?
No, what I mean is I didn't used to like the holidays as much. One of the reasons I love January is that for years and years there was so much stress around Christmas that I think what happened was I just was like, oh, thank God, the routine of January. This is normal. I like normal. Let's do that. And so I wound up, it's just baked in me that I love January. The Magic and Bird thing, I was kind of hoping they'd be up in a suite together. They'd do something fun.
How'd they let that one fly by?
Well,
though?
I mean, you can't make Magic and Bird show up on, the holiday weekend. You have to be here together. They could have done more with that game.
Private planes. What do you mean?
Yeah, they could have done more with that
they're
game.
Taking the Greyhound in.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
It's Christmas vacation. They'd have to take a 3-hour flight and then get back on a private jet.
It's when that game first popped up, I thought, boy, that'll be fun to write about and do things about that. And then I didn't do anything with. Part of it was Indiana State was too good for any historical nostalgia. It wasn't like that got to be that game.
You can be good and still have some nostalgia.
That's true.
Why are you defending Indiana State? I don't think they're that good.
They're pretty good.
Ezra K. next. Stop worrying about what Jared Goff will make on his next contract. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are the best GM coach team the Lions have ever had. And stop with the ridiculous fantasy of underpaying Goff by half his objective NFL value of $40 million.
If they pay Goff $40 million, then fuck Brad Holmes. Like you got to go. Like,
are you sure you're going to say that?
I don't know. Take that out. Fix that in
sure?
post. I didn't mean
40 mil?
40 million.
40 million. If Goff gets 40 million, fuck Brad Holmes.
That's just such a dumb decision.
Why?
Because
there's quarterbacks that are going to be getting like $70 million soon. The cap's going to go up a little bit. I'm just saying.
I mean, Daniel Jones makes $40 million. You know what's going to happen for the Giants? Nothing. They are not going to win a Super Bowl for the next 5-6 years.
But I would
10
be
years.
more confident in Goff going forward than I would with Jones.
But if $40 million, then which are you not going to sign? Sewell or Amon-Ra St. Ron?
But the salary cap will expand. I think $40 million. I mean, it's kind of what Stafford signed how many years ago?
You get to pay 3 guys, and you have to choose the right 3. And the teams that often win big are the teams that have either great quarterbacks or quarterbacks on rookie deals. You find me an average quarterback getting paid like a monster quarterback. Monster quarterback, I don't know what that means, but getting paid like a franchise won't be better.
What's your offer to Goff then?
My offer for Goff, and this is what Ezra is, it may not be realistic, and he's right. My offer to Goff is one of two things. We will pay you, and I hate this quarterback, well, he's the next guy to get paid. No, there should be a pecking order. Like if you're one of these elite 5, fine, and everybody else, you can't be paid that screws the rest of your franchise. So you either got to be paid a lot, but because he makes $34 million a year, but they haven't had to pay other guys yet. A lot, but there's flexibility to the point that they can get out of the contract and cut you at any time and not have dead cap money. Or if you want guaranteed money, like $100 million, you're looking at $20 million a year over 5 years. We'll give it to you guaranteed, but it's $20 million. It's not $40.
I think Goff would fire his agent.
Well, that's fine. That's I know it pisses Ezra off.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I wish that could happen. I just don't see it happening.
All right.
All right. Travis Maynard next. Unless it's absolutely mission critical, showing up to work sick or anywhere for that matter doesn't make you tough. It makes you an inconsiderate prick. Bonus. The majority of Division I teams would have lost to an opponent that drained 14 demoralizing threes. I'm not sure all of our fans truly appreciate just how good of a win that was. Rank us.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at the rankings that came out today. Hold on. Give me some Hoff for a second.
I can't stop this feeling. It's deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me.
Yeah, so Michigan State is not ranked in either poll. Are these today's rankings? I believe so. Yeah, like just don't pay attention to the AP polls because the people aren't that bright. Michigan State right now, based on their resume, has losses that make you say they shouldn't be ranked. Based on who they are as a team, though, and who they are the last few weeks, is absolutely a top 15 team in the country. There's no question about it. There's just not even close. And Indiana State was really good. I mean, they got a lot of shooters everywhere. They got a great guard, Isaiah Swopes, that, you think Purdue and Indiana don't need that guy right now? Unbelievable how he would elevate who they are. They have a big man and didn't actually play very well. They're big man, but they just got such a nice roster. They move so well without the ball. They don't get rattled. Michigan State's played two of those teams. Now they're different than James Madison, but two NCAA tournament teams. That's a team that could be, will be a 10 or 11 seed, partly because their schedule won't be good enough and they'll drop games because everybody loses conference road games. But they'll be in the tournament, and my guess is they'll win a game in the tournament.
Ryan Rockwell next. Number 1, Iowa should fire Kirk Ferentz. 2, FSU looks foolish now. And 3, the 12-team playoff saves bowl games. Missed you guys. Really appreciate the show and the both of you.
Appreciate you, Ryan. I think the 12-game playoff will help the second-tier bowl games a little bit. I do think they also –
a little bit. It'll help them a lot. I haven't watched one of these fringe bowl games.
Well, the 12-game playoff won't do anything. Doesn't include the fringe bowl games.
People want like the Rose Bowl to be incorporated into the national championship game, and maybe it would get people.
I just think part of the problem is you've got these that a lot of games that are supposed to be big bowls but aren't in the playoff. You've got these top teams going to that are disappointed in all these opt-outs.
Yep.
I think the smaller, if everything that's not in the playoff is kind of a second-tier smaller bowl, and teams are more often excited to be in them, you'll probably get fewer guys opting out. Guys are still going to opt out. That's just the way of the world now, unless there's some, financial incentive to play in it, which could happen through some NIL deal.
It's going to have to happen. That's the only way you can probably get guys to stay on.
Well, and the other thing people have to remember about bowls is the bowl market just got overinflated for a while. And it used to be, I remember being a kid around here, and there were years that Michigan State won 7 games and didn't get to a bowl game, or went 6-4-1 and
that was fine.
Didn't get to a bowl game, and that was fine.
See you next year.
So, but there was prestige in a bowl game. There were, when I first started covering the Mid-American Conference, they didn't have 5 schools going to bowl games. There was 1 spot every year. Then there were 2 and 3. It was prestige. It was hard. So it was a big deal if you got to go, and they've lost some of that. And so we'll see. I think it was actually 10 texting with Mark Hollis yesterday about this, and his idea, and I don't hate this. Eventually, I just said, "What perfect solution? Where does this all go?" Because he thinks the bowl system's got to go. It's antiquated. It's just done. Is you go to 24 teams roughly in a playoff with a number with 8 teams getting byes, and there just are no bowls. But then you've got 24 places, so there's a true postseason, right? And you probably won't have, but you won't have conference championship games either.
24 teams.
So it's one extra round is all it is, and now you would have enough teams playing for something late that it would that would be his solution. Interesting thought.
Alan Pearlstein next on players opting out of bowl games. I wonder if some pro prospects on bad college teams will decide to opt out of games at the end of the regular season to prevent injury.
Yeah, we haven't really seen this yet. I want to say I've read about 1 or 2 players, but I think part of it is you sign up for the season. Like, the season is on the schedule. I'm signing up to be part of this for the season. The bowl game is this extra thing, and if it's not moving towards a national title, like, there's no way it doesn't. Then what am I doing here? Now I'm just risking myself a month later. I don't know that we will. I think. I mean, that would be a bad place to be at if that starts happening. But I can also understand it if you're on a 4-6 team. You're like, what am I doing? I'm going to the NFL, and
are we going to see 10, 11, 12 seeded guys sit out of the playoff? Because while we're a 12 seed, we have no shot.
Because you're in. No, the playoff, you're.
But let's say you're like a 28-point underdog to someone, and then
doesn't matter. You're in the playoff. You're in the dance. You're in the tournament. Those guys are going to play.
All right. New Year's volleyball dad next. Number 1, it's like I always say: if the team you hate more than Osama bin Laden is going to win, you might as well make some money off of them. 2, Jason nailed my Aston Villa question. Atlanta New Boys ruined their chances. Wait, you hate Harbaugh more? You hate Michigan more than Osama bin Laden?
It seems that way. I do think there is, like, if I were advising Michigan State fans on this next game, I would tell them to put money on Michigan. The problem is that Michigan's the favorite, and it's dangerous. Like, I think the value, if it's still 4.5, where the line, as I saw, is on Washington. They've been underdogs for like 4 straight games and won them all, and I don't think there's value on Michigan at minus 4.5 in terms of the betting value. But so the problem is you could bet Michigan and still lose the bet, and Michigan could win the national title, and that's why that's a dangerous play.
Are the people that emailed you and said they're rooting for Michigan also gamblers?
Probably not.
I would guess not.
No,
right?
They seemed way too Christian to me.
Eric Larson next. Tough being Detroit fan. The catch, non-catch changed. Way the NFL rules ruled. What is a catch? Galarraga's perfect game blown call is the impetus for the video replay in Major League Baseball. Now, in the offseason, we will definitely have a rules change in the NFL for reporting eligible players automatically.
Yeah, there's no doubt this will lead to something where it's a little more
clear.
And
the fumble out of the end zone by C.D. Lamb.
Yeah, which should be changed.
It should be, but it will for sure.
That's too punitive, right? I mean, what should that actually be? Like, to me, you got to put, I don't know, like, put the team with the ball back at the 20-yard line, not give it to the other team. That doesn't make it, you know what I mean?
You could start there, yeah.
I mean, you can't. What you can't have is you don't want it. It has to be punitive enough that people aren't reaching out, taking huge risks, almost throwing it over the goal line and out of bounds because there's no penalty for it. But you know what you could do is actually. Oh shoot! I wish I could give credit to this. I just heard this the other night. You could do it where it's sort of like intentional grounding, where it's you go back a certain point and it's loss of down. So there's really a penalty, but it's still your ball. You know what I mean? That would be my, my way to play that.
Cucker Tarlson, bring back Brady Hoke.
All right. It will be really interesting. I do think Harbaugh is, just my own hunch, probably NFL bound. I did like the way he answered the question when they asked him about that. He basically said, my future involves being really happy on this flight back to Ann Arbor. It's a great way to answer it. You're not lying. It's better that than a lot of coaches would say, no, I'm going to be the coach here forever. Then the next day they'd be on a different flight. And I respect, but no coach is also going to say, that's right, I'm hoping to get an NFL job and leave these guys. He handled it really well, which is surprising for Harbaugh. But it will be interesting to see this is a veteran team. If they go through a coaching change, what this program is just a year from now. What is also interesting to watch from Michigan fans, though, is they don't seem concerned about losing Harbaugh. All their eggs are in this. You win a national title here. You show you can do it. It's bragging rights forever. It's the big moment. They've gotten control of the Ohio State rivalry. They can withstand a couple years getting back up or doing it with a new coach. They're okay with that. That's why yesterday's game was so big. If they had lost that game to Alabama, even if they lose the national championship at this point, they've proven they can beat a big SEC team in a playoff game. They've gotten control of the Ohio State series. They're beating up on MSU suddenly. Like they're in a really good place. It'll be painful, but that was a huge, huge win to beat Alabama.
But wasn't that like a dollar store Alabama team, though?
Well, it's not Alabama's best team, but it's the highest rated. I think it was like his highest ranked recruiting class or one of the top two. Like if you just go out and recruiting stars, it's one of those most talented teams. It's proof that you cannot miss on the quarterback, and you have to have an offensive line. And holy shit, get a center who can snap the ball.
I was trying to gaslight. Sorry.
What was up with Kirk Herbstreit also blaming the quarterback for not catching those rolling snaps? And
I stopped listening to Herbstreit.
It was a weird.
I mean, I tolerate him on the call, but like anything outside of that.
It sounds like even on the final play, it was going to be I don't know. It was the snap was off or something. I don't know. The center was the worst I've ever seen at snapping the ball.
Spartan 18770 next. Nick Saban should be coach of the year for winning 12 games with that putrid offense. Bonus take. Harbaugh, Day, and Saban will all have new jobs come September.
Wow.
That's hot.
That is hot.
Yeah.
Saban is not leaving. And, I do think Saban any year could retire now. I do. But I just can't see him going out on a loss to Michigan. I mean, they beat Georgia.
In the playoff.
Yeah.
Like the game is passed by.
And Michigan is a team that, Michigan is part of the reason he left Michigan State was how frustrated he was trying to compete with Michigan. To let Michigan get the best of you. Now, he's won a number of national titles, 6? And they did just beat Georgia. And so it could have been a nice landing. Like if they had beaten Michigan, win or lose against Washington, it would have been a nice jumping off point. I have a feeling that he wouldn't want to step away.
Ken Chu next. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction show is fire, and the World Junior Hockey Championship is ice. Bonus. Props to Channel 10 WILX for carrying the GLI. Oh, the GLI.
Great Lakes Invitational.
Yeah.
No, it was cool. It was weird. There were very few places you could get it. You had to, in your market, like the local NBC affiliate had to pick it up or whatever. It was entertaining
Transistor
to watch.
radio.
Yeah, it was. They got to get a better TV deal with the GLI.
Zeke's fan page. Rube probably has the best New Year's resolutions, so I want him to give me one that I will implement.
What is your New Year's resolution? Do you have one?
Oh, definitely to stretch every night. Take care of my body better in 2024. That's what I have so far.
By the way, you can begin to take care of your body better with a Muskox quality flannel. Go to gomuskox.com. Treat your body with comfort and warmth. And
they're good to shield you when you start working out, so you can be shielded, look good still, and then really
you're
look good
warm,
when
you're
pumped
loose.
up a little bit.
And after you work out, you shower, you put on a Muskox flannel, you're as comfortable as you've ever been.
That's my attempt at a live read.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good by you. Go muskox.com to check out their incredible offerings. And again, Hoff, HOFF, for $15 off for Couch and the Rube listeners. Take care of your body better. Like, are you going to get into like yoga or weightlifting or anything?
I tried the yoga thing. I don't know. I just want to make sure every night I at least, especially for golf, you have to be kind of limber and all that. I don't know. I just, at 44, man, it's just all going downhill, and you wake up feeling like shit. Not even drinking anymore. Like, why am I feeling like shit? So, got to eat better, a little better, work out more, and that's it. Like, really, to be honest with you, 15, 20 minutes a day, a little exercise.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
No, I'm
it's easier said than done.
Trying to make some changes. I do every year, and we'll see if this
it'll
year
be over by February.
See if this year sticks. But whether you are eating light or just back in your fuck it, it's February mode, Midtown Brewing Company has you covered. They've got one of the great things about their menu is they've got food that'll from the cow will break the belt line, but it's so delicious. They've also got really good light offerings. So if you're looking to eat smart, have a dinner out, a date out, go to Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing. Zion was a big deal because he was a huge guy, and I just broke my chair.
G. Quang next. Where can we send gifts to the show to show our appreciation for y'all?
So, G, I will DM you an address to the studio, and we'll
it's
do
105 West Allegan.
105 West Allegan in downtown Lansing. I was, G has never reached out.
I didn't know if you didn't know or you just didn't want to give it out.
I was a little concerned that, G has never reached out, and this may be very sincere, and we very much appreciate that.
Sure.
It could also be anthrax. I don't know what this is,
Well, I guess we let you open them first.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
G, we trust you, and, please, if you send a gift, we'll
Don't send us anthrax. God. Bo McJunkin's next. The worst part of this week will be the media lapdogs slurping up all of Harbaugh's goofiness in press conferences like he hasn't been suspended twice, talking about the adversity they created themselves. What a joke. Bonus. Dan Campbell had the appropriate reaction to Dave Burkett. Graham will say it needs to be asked. No, it doesn't. It's clear why he's frustrated with Captain Obvious Dave. What was the question?
No, he's clear why he's frustrated, Captain Obvious Dave. I should have put a comma in there. That's my bad. No, Dave just asked a question like, he was trying to get Campbell to expound on exactly the issue. Like, are you mad at are you mad at the ref? Are you mad at your team? I'm sort of remembering it a little bit here, but it was a fine question, and I thought the best thing is the way Dan Campbell handled it, that after he got frustrated, said a lot about him in that moment. He apologized to Burkett. It was a fine question. Did it have to be asked? No, but it wasn't. You're trying to elicit not just reactions, but responses that explain things from coaches, and you want to keep them talking. And sometimes that's the best way to do it. Sometimes you got to poke them a little,
but you'd also like them to freak out too. That's good for headlines sometimes.
You don't want them to freak out, but you want them to give an honest response. You want them to give. One of my issues with Mel Tucker all the time is it was just catatonic. It was just, nothing. And there just wasn't a lot there sometimes. And he was built. It was out of the Saban playbook. It wasn't going to give you a lot, but sometimes you're just like, oh fuck, man, just something, emotion,
Kevin from Rochester Hills next. Scum cheated, and Chris Fowler needs knee pads. Lions are good, but the refs are better, and Saban is now just like Paterno at the end of his career.
He's not Paterno yet. Paterno was just sort of a stick figure on the sidelines at the end. Saban's a ways from that, I think.
Is Fowler in the Matt Shepard Hall of Fame?
No, because he's good at what he does. He's really good at what he does.
He's a solid guy.
He's a really good play-by-play guy, and he's great at Australian Open. The tennis, he's fantastic at, too. He's really good.
So that's why you like him.
No,
that's the only reason why.
I've always liked him. He's good.
Because he does tennis. Dave Anderson. I'm sure he's a great guy. Great family man. If the NCAA doesn't fix this portal silliness, then we need to inaugurate a portal bowl. The mascot can be a big puffy spreadsheet that's way too long and consistently trips over itself.
Everybody in the portal plays a game like an all-star game, and then you get to pick players out of that group. Yeah, look, the portal silliness, whatever you want to call it, isn't going anywhere. It's just not. It's only going to get worse, and it's going to turn people off the sport. I really think.
Is there going to be any rules at any point? Or
the problem is people are afraid of lawsuits, and I do think the NCAA has to grow a pair and start to, even if you're going to lose stuff, make better points. For too long they were complaining about amateurism and bullshit that were dumb arguments. But what you can make the point now to is, yes, getting yours as a college athlete, you may be able to get everything you want right now. You may be able to transfer mid-semester and play on 2 college basketball teams in the same year. You may be able to get rid of 4 years of eligibility and play forever as long as you're in graduate school. You may be able to sue for everything. But what you're doing now will ruin the sport so that 20 years from now, these kids will have nothing because the fan base is going to tune out. People are going to stop giving a shit. It'll be regional markets will care a little bit. People will always care about Michigan State basketball and football to some degree here, to some degree. But if you don't think people will tune out when they're disgusted by something, they will. They'll do it even at MSU. It'll become less. There'll be less TV revenue. There'll be less revenue for players. The next generation won't get it because you got everything you could when you would. And that needs to be said. That needs to be fucking said.
I don't think anyone's going anywhere. I mean, look at the NFL and the referees. Where am I going? I'm going to be there every Sunday, no matter, pretty much what they do. I don't know if people can boicott their teams, though.
It is a slow demise, but it'll happen. There'll be fewer eyeballs. 20 years from now, it'll be a lot less. If it continues on this path, and I don't know that it exactly will.
You sound happy about it, though.
No, I don't.
The prospect of it. In 20 years when I told you so.
I hope to retire by then. But, we will still be doing the show, but retire from writing.
Not. Jesus. Cinemod next. Michigan winning the Rose Bowl could be the best thing to ever happen to MSU. Get back to it'll never be over mentality and play with a chip on your shoulder. We were comfy for too long. Time to get going.
I don't know that Michigan winning the Rose Bowl is the best thing to ever happen to MSU. I don't know how. That's a hard
define best.
Yeah.
Best of the day.
Good.
I don't know.
Do
you have money on it?
Yeah, unless like the university put like $500 million on Michigan to win as a university and just won $500 million that they're going to use to transform some things. Maybe that was what would have had to have happened. But
Firekeepers take a bet that big?
It'd be interesting if like the Michigan State Board of Trustees showed up at Firekeepers wanting to put a $500 million bet down. Would they take it?
That would be a great Chris Solari story. Love to watch him do that.
Yeah. I don't think it's the best thing, but you can argue that, and that certainly Michigan State understands where Michigan is, and I don't think anybody doesn't.
JD next. Some of y'all MSU fans need to reevaluate your lives. I'm not thrilled Michigan won, but it's not life-altering. Just ignore the idiot Michigan fans and laugh when the NCAA takes away their natty next year. Bonus. If the NFL is going to rig the Lions into having to play Stafford and the Rams for the wild card, they better damn well rig us into winning that game and the next round in Dallas. Fuck the NFL.
That would be fair, to be honest with you. Anything
it would be a good start.
Anything less than the Lions in the NFC Championship game.
We're still owed more, but it would be a good start.
Yes, it would be. Because I think, I've asked you this question before about what would feel successful. Like, what do they need this year for you to feel good in the offseason? And you've had different responses at different times. But to me, I think if they got to the NFC Championship and even lose on the road to the 49ers, you would feel like they sort of maximized who they were this year, right?
Because I don't know what I said in the past, but I really think a playoff win at home, I'm good with that.
But so are you good with that and then losing at Dallas?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be great with it or whatever, but I'm saying like to reevaluate the season
right.
over the summer, I would be like, well, we won a home playoff game. We're rolling. Hopefully the defense, we can get some playmakers on D.
Here's my problem with the way the refs and things have gone against the Lions of late. A year ago, right, calls that happened in favor of Seattle screwed Detroit. This year, calls at Dallas screw them. So if you got a window that's 5 years, and you only have about a 5-year window, if you're going to play without an elite quarterback, you don't have Joe Burrow who says the window is my entire career. If you're going to try and do it with a guy like Jared Goff, you get 5 years and you got to rebuild, tear it down. So you got a short window. And last year may have been year one. Last year they didn't get in the playoffs. That should have been in the playoffs year. This year should have been the home field advantage to the NFC Championship year. Instead, you're like a year behind. This year's the just get in the playoffs, one home game year. And so by a couple bad calls have delayed everything like a year. And when you've got a 5-year window, and again, I know a lot of people get pissed at me about the Goff takes, but if Goff is your QB, you got a window. You got a defined window because he has to have perfect around him, and you got to pay for perfect. That's my issue.
David Jackson next. When Harbaugh leaves and the NCAA hammer drops, Michigan will have to go outside the program for its new coach. Everyone knew, and all will eventually be implicated. Bonus. Even a mid-small forward would make MSU matchup proof against all except Zach Edey. Pierre Brooks, where are you?
Well, I mean, Jaden Akins is sort of that small forward for them. Brooks would have helped. Pierre Brooks, if he had stuck around and played as well as he's played at Butler this year, would have been good for Michigan State. Another shooter. I don't know whose minutes, though, he takes. Are you happy with him taking Cohen Carr's minutes? And because I don't know that he would have, but Cohen Carr is going to play a lot more of the 3 now. I think one of the things Michigan State fans will like, and I was just over at practice before coming into the studio today, and Xavier Booker's playing a lot of minutes with the ones, and Izzo is hoping to use him more and more. It was just a bad matchup the other day against Indiana State, and they're hoping to have Kohler back. I think there's a chance Jackson Kohler plays Sunday at Northwestern. They don't think it's Thursday, but it could be as early as Sunday. If I had a better guess, I would say it's a week from Thursday. But with some of the stuff that's happening inside, they're moving Cohen Carr more to the 3. He's playing more on the wing, and we'll see how he develops there. But I don't know that you want somebody in the way of Cohen Carr. Although I'm not saying you want less shooting. Pierre Brooks, the way he's played this year, would have definitely helped Michigan State.
Jay Riemenschneider next. I can't find any ratings yet, but I would bet just about anything that Monday night's Rose Bowl was the most watched college football game we've ever had.
Yeah, my guess is it did gangbusters. First, it's the Rose Bowl. It's peak hours. It wasn't as late as the other game because the Rose Bowl has to have the sunset. I've learned to resent the Rose Bowl and the sunset. It should have gone away after the last great Rose Bowl 10 years ago before the playoff.
The sunset?
Well, people are pissed off because the late game last night ended at 1 a.m. Did you see the end of the late game last night?
I did not.
Well, there you go. But you know why you didn't see the end of the late game? Because the Rose Bowl won't start early enough. They have to have the sunset at the start of the fourth quarter. The fucking Rose Bowl won't start a game at 3 o'clock.
It did look cool on TV.
Okay. No, I'm just yeah. Anyway, but I do think it probably did gangbusters for a rating. It's 2 big programs, good game. I would not be surprised if it's up there with one of the more watched college football games.
Sparty 99 next. Can you summarize how Washington went from 4-8 to the national championship within a couple seasons? What moves did they make that Mel Tucker didn't? What moves should Smith make to match this success? Looking for some hope here, guys.
Mel Tucker's, well, there are a couple things. The programs were in very different conditions in some ways. If Mel Tucker had taken over in 2000, after 2018, maybe that was closer, a year and a half earlier. But your point is, like, Washington had a really good defense in that 4-8 team, elite defense, just like Michigan State in like 2018. Awful offense, just nothing on offense, and it eventually wore down the defense and all that. And they had some injuries on defense that led to 4-8. But there were some good players in the program, and you know what? There wasn't any compete to play, compete to stay bullshit. They got 9 sixth-year seniors from the previous regime playing for that Washington team. They got a lot of guys who were holdovers. Then they went and got their quarterback, and maybe Michigan State just did that. If Aiden Childs is that guy. So I think there's some of that. Mel Tucker never got an elite quarterback, and so that was part of it. Unlike D'Antonio, who kept most of the roster intact when he took over, Mel Tucker was much more transactional and transient, and so I think that is a lesson. If you want to win early, you keep guys. And you're seeing that now with a lot of the core guys that they've been able to keep on the defensive side, especially guys coming back out of the portal that they've sort of re-recruited. You don't want to get rid of guys who've taken time to develop in your roster on your campus or already on your roster. So I think it's as much stability as you can create, getting the quarterback, and then being elite on one side. The thing Mel Tucker never had was an elite defense. And Kalen DeBoer walked into a program that had been an elite defense. And Mel Tucker's, that team had fallen like a year and a half earlier, 2 years earlier. I think Tucker would have had something a little different to build on. Whether he would have, DeBoer is an offensive genius who's got one of the best passing quarterbacks I've ever seen. So I don't know if Mel Tucker could capitalize the same way. But you could argue in 2021 he did a pretty good job of turning it quick and having a moment. But those would be the difference. I would say stability, get the right quarterback, build an offensive line, and then get elite on the other side of the ball. But Washington isn't elite there now either. So they've sort of shifted as well. But get a quarterback, get an offensive line.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
Green Machine next. 30 seconds. 30 seconds? The amount of time it took Brad Allen to pull the flag from the depth of his pants. What a joke. If he was my dad, I'd be putting him into a home ASAP. What a good son.
Yeah, the late call stuff sucks. You remember when you're playing like pickup basketball and somebody's like, late call, doesn't count. Like, you have to call it immediately. You can't call something late.
And then an argument ensued for 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. God, it's the worst. It's the worst.
That's why the late calls, and you get to look at them afterwards at 50 reviews. Those are the calls that I'm like, the bang-bang calls, I get it. The NFL guys are bigger, faster, and all that shit. But when you have time to review it, it's just... Dave Lakin next. Unfortunately, the moniker of Same Old Lions will not be completely swept away until these bad referee calls stop. There is a history of too many bad calls against the Lions to call it just bad luck. It has to be the same old Lions. We should embrace it.
AI.
Embrace AI, Jesus, to eliminate human referees. I agree.
Yeah, I've been writing that different for you because AI is one of those things that I think they should come up with a different moniker for AI because when you see it written and you have to read it on our show, it's
artificial intelligence is what it stands for.
Right. But I've been doing A-I, and I didn't do that here, which would be
screwed me.
Yeah. Apologies. Yeah, no, I don't know if it was. This is not a same old Lions team.
It's the same old Lions in the sense that we got screwed again.
Yes,
it's the same old. That's it.
But the response by Dan Campbell's not the same. I like his response to this point.
Yeah.
It's not been the same old Lions in the front office with how they've drafted and what they've done. There've been a lot of things that are not
Rod
same
Wood.
Lions.
Rod Wood is the same.
Well, yeah. The Ford family's still there.
Yeah. Chris Eastlick next. As a Broncos fan, I'm not mad. What? He's a Broncos. As a Broncos fan, I'm not mad they moved on from Russ. But that's about as poorly as Denver could have handled the situation, and now there will likely be problems for the NFLPA. Bonus. After Saturday's debacle, I understand why Lions fans feel the league is against them, right or wrong.
I think everybody does, and that's the cool thing. I think one of the best things about that being the only game on that night is that the world got to see how screwed the. It's not like being one game at 1 o'clock that while everybody else is watching their game, everybody sees the Lions get screwed and realizes.
But who has it worse, though, Browns fans or Lions fans in the history of the NFL?
I think it's pretty close.
I think it's Cleveland.
It might be.
You had your team move. They became the Ravens, won a Super Bowl. Look how good they are now, and then they give you some team in 1999 with Tim Couch on it.
And for all my complaining about Jared Goff, and not complaining about Goff, my concerns that they'll overpay him or that he can't be the guy.
You hate Goff.
I don't hate Goff at all. I root for Goff. I would love Goff to do well. But the Lions did not make a Deshaun Watson mistake and do not owe him $263 million. And the thing beyond that, too, is they have this elite defense in Cleveland. If Cleveland, what a waste. They're going to cycle through their window and waste it. That sucks. So Cleveland has it worse.
Don't doubt Flacco, bro.
Cleveland's a decade. No, they may get to the NFC Championship. I do not think, maybe Flacco does it. But Cleveland may be a decade away because they've got to cycle through this whole thing, tear it down, rebuild, draft again, try over. It's going to be awful.
Are you sure you're not in the Ford family? Are you sure?
By the way, the Russ Wilson thing, it
was weird.
But
they didn't know that was coming.
He handled it well, but I don't. I'm just such not a fan of his anymore that I cannot. I don't know something about him I don't love. It's something about him so fake I can't stand it. I don't know what it is. Just that he's fake, I guess.
Nate C next. Number 1. John Smith seems like a good dude who won't cheat, but let's say he sees there's no real repercussions. What ways would you think he should? 2, what's worse, gambling or sports? Both suck 99% of the time, but occasionally hit.
When they do hit, it's so good.
It's great.
That's amazing.
Reels you back in.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, how should he cheat if he was allowed to cheat? Well, you shouldn't cheat, but you should. As much as you can get financially to buy players is what you want to do. That's the
just don't have phone sex,
right? Just avoid.
That's all we ask.
Just avoid the phone sex.
Yeah,
right? But yeah, no. Look, as much money as you're able to have at your disposal for NIL, and I don't think that's cheating anymore. Obviously,
you can have phone sex, but with your wife,
right? Yeah. Right.
Matt Venny next. Number 1, Saban needs to retire before he becomes the Bill Belichick of college football. 2, pro players who comment that bowl games aren't supposed to be this bad when they themselves opted out of their bowl game need to be randomly drug tested by the NFL.
Who did that? I
don't know.
That is amazing hypocrisy. Yeah, that does suck. Yeah, very good point.
Sunshine Spartan number 1, when the scum season is vacated, it will be glorious. 2, Lions will beat the Rams, lose to the Cowboys again in a divisional round on another BS call. And 3, holiday traffic is complete ass.
Not in Lansing. That's one of the great things about Lansing. I don't mean to do another commercial for Lansing, but we just don't have traffic because only a few people really want to be here. But those of us who are here are really happy about it. So we are the place to be.
Andrew Gauthier. Number 1, at least the Lions got their annual screw job out of the way before the playoffs.
Let's hope.
2, if Madi Sissoko rebounds like that in March, this team will make a deep run. And 3, I wouldn't want to be the Vikings this weekend after hearing that MCDC is pure octane this week.
What is MD? Oh.
It's our core foundation.
Motor City Dan
Grit.
Campbell.
Yeah, I hate these monikers. I can never understand. Yeah,
how about this one?
Iffy, Ifantu Malifanwu, we freaking love you, man.
He did it. Pure octane was a cool way of saying. I mean, that was a good response. That was. Although the thing is, and the Lions play the early game, so they're going to play. I'm actually happy the Lions play at a different time than the Eagles and Cowboys, because I think it would be hard if the Lions played at 4 and those games were at 1, 2, and you knew you were locked into the 3 seed. It would be almost dumb to play some of your guys, and it would be harder to play hard. I think the fact that you don't know what's going to happen in those later games, even if it seems obvious, it makes it okay to play hard against the Vikings.
Jonathan Smith's burner with one long take. Sorry, Rube. You know, just get into it. You don't do that, so I don't know. I'm dumb, so I'll get through it and go.
Before we get into Jonathan Smith's one long take here, I do want to say something about Mady Sissoko, because he did play fantastic, and the way he rebounded, and the way when he rebounds like that, he is a consequential center. Now, they were not a physical team, Indiana State. As good as they are in a lot of ways, they are not an overly physical team. And you could tell early on, Malik Hall had a rebound early that the look on the other guy's face when Hall took it from him was like, oh, shit, when they collided. It was like, this is different. But that Sissoko, 12 rebounds, I think he had 7 in the final 10 minutes, whatever it was. That guy is who he's got to be all year, no matter the opponent.
All right, long take here. This loss is your classic same old Lions scenario, and we never learn from them. We know every time the Lions play a big game against a big NFL brand like Dallas, we're also facing the refs, so don't give them any chance to affect the game result. Were there non-calls for obvious pass interference and holding on Dallas? Yep. But you know what? Don't get cute and go for it twice on 4th and goal when you could have taken the points. Don't whiff on a sack that led to a 92-yard fluke TD. Don't throw 2 picks on 2 underthrown balls on the same routes to the left. Did the Lions do everything right on that 2-point scenario? Yes. But the game should never have gotten to that point. Why the fuck do we have to keep saying that? The fact that I had to read this and say this still. I know you can go back to every little instance, but the 2-point play fucking worked and the refs screwed it. So I'm blaming the refs. And guess what? You could do that.
Yeah, but you're contradicting yourself.
Probably.
I'm you did say that. Why don't we then?
It's a 2-hour fucking show. I'm going to say some things.
Why don't the Lions then, from the 7-yard line, at least kick the extra point? Right? I mean, that's,
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no. Look.
So what did I contradict? I'm just saying I'm not going to blame it on certain things.
Yeah.
The refs, they did a 2-point play. You can break all these little micro things down.
Oh, the refs screwed them. Refs screwed them. They screwed up.
But why can't we just be pissed off at the refs and not talk about 3rd down in the 3rd quarter and shit?
No, and the way the ref didn't own it, and maybe
and
you
the NFL
it.
Basically goofed on you the next day. It's ridiculous. G.E. Miller, that was the worst Bama team of the Saban era. No playmakers, no pass protection, no O-line, and a center who forgot how to snap the ball.
I do believe if they had a different center, that Alabama probably wins that game, because a couple things. Even the final play, I believe, was supposed to be. There was a play right at the end.
But Milroe needed to make a little bit of a play on. So I get it. He was botching them. But when you have your center like that,
one was rolling by.
I understand. But there was a few that hit him in the Milroe in the hands. If your guy's not getting the ball, you got to make do with it, I guess.
But if you look at the difference, Penix gets hit right in the sweet spot, right in the every time, and he's able to throw
right in the
Penix, and the advantage of that is you're not if you don't trust where the ball's going to go. Imagine being a quarterback. You're trying to look at the defense, but you're like, oh fuck, I don't even know if the center can give me the ball.
Just chucking.
I'm looking down and I'm trying, and then I got to look up and figure out what's happening. If Alabama had a difference, I mean, it's unbelievable how bad that guy was. And the fact that it was a problem all year, they must have. I mean, he must be really good at other things, because holy shit, the key to me is snapping the ball. It is the first job of a center. He was not very good at.
Hans Jurgen, number 1, if you graduated from Michigan, congratulations on winning the Rose Bowl. 2, if you didn't graduate from Michigan, you're still a Walmart Wolverine. And 3, I'm a salty bitch.
So here's the thing. People can be. I didn't go to the University of the Detroit Pistons. You didn't go to the University of the Detroit Lions. people can be fans of teams without a direct association.
There's no curriculum for the Pistons.
Yeah, you would. I know. I would have gone if they had let me. I would love to play for them. But no. Point being, like, people can be fans for all sorts of reasons. We shouldn't gatekeep on that. I will say, however, that the trash talk, the "I am better than you" when you have just chosen a team rather than having an affiliation with a team is a little nuts. Like, if you have no affiliation or reason, if you've just chosen to root for somebody, especially if you're not even from the area or you didn't do it as a kid. Like, if as an adult you became
so many rules.
Yeah, they're not rules. It's just be aware. Just be self-aware.
Apparently, I can't watch a game and cheer.
You got to go to the University of
Detroit. Take a class.
Yes, there's got to be a Lions class.
Ann Arbor Flint. Can I take one? Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Number 1, need more Rube days. 2, I kind of hope the University of Michigan Ann Arbor loses by calling a timeout they don't have, and then everything is vacated. And 3, NFL refs are ass.
We will do more Rube days, maybe once a month or something on Twitter questions. We'll have a segment where, because those are really good. I enjoyed it. I think, Jason, you enjoyed it, right?
I don't remember it.
Okay, well, he didn't even remember it, so we have to do it every month.
You guys say it was good, it's good.
Just so he remembers it. It is good to be back. Happy 2024. We appreciate all of you taking part, producing our show, caring about it, caring about us. Well, it means the world to us. We appreciate Muskox. Go to gomuskox.com and order your flannel today. Again, HOFF for $15 off your flannel purchase. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing. We'll be back. We'll figure out the next showtime. We got to actually figure out when that is. Thursday night game, probably Friday, maybe Wednesday. We'll figure it out. We'll be in touch. Couch the Room.